Hey, Kevin here, Mr. DIY Dork from DIYDork.com. Today I'm going to show you how I'm going to turn this ugly old $10 Salvation Army table to a really awesome piece by reusing these leftover 2x4s from our house renovation. These 2x4s are nasty and ugly, and the table's even worse, but it's going to be awesome when it's done. Check this out. I wanted to show you this thing before I start tearing into it. You can just see how rough the top is. Totally scratched up. I saw some names on there. Looks like Trina or Trevor or something like that wrote their name on there. There's laminate peeling off the top, and you can see it's really bad there. The legs are kind of rough. They got some splits in them. This one looks really beat up, maybe even a little bit water damage. This one has a huge crack. I'll have to fix that, but I can totally work with this. This side and this side have a little edge banding on them, but then these other sides it's totally off, so they're rough. So I'll pull those others off and fix them, because I have a really cool idea, like I said, to use these 2x4s for a new top. Another cool little feature is that it actually had a drawer that even has some dovetailing in it, so it's, you know, decent quality, and these little brass handles. And I decided this time to go ahead and polish them up. Had a suggestion on my last video to polish up brass, so I will do it on this one and see how it turns out. But I think it's gonna be a cool little table. It's gonna be very interesting makeover, so how about we get started with this? All right, so first things first, I'm gonna fix the easy stuff, and this table has a big wobble to it. And it's actually really simple. It just has a bolt behind this main leg that pulls in these two little pieces down here. So I'll do that real quick, and it should be able to tighten this up. Right, now to fix the cracks in the legs. I noticed that all of them had a little bit of cracks. What I decided to do was I tried clamping it totally together, and I thought I could maybe glue it, but it's a little too tough for that. So what I'm gonna do is clamp this together so that it closes up a little bit, and then I'm gonna preserve it with screws. So what I've done already up top, you can see there's two holes right here. So what I did is just use the drill. I'm pre-drilling some holes, and then I'm gonna run these 2-inch screws in there, and I'm gonna countersink them so they're sunk in there. And then what I'll do is I'll put some filler over the heads, and then I can smooth it all out, and then be able to paint the legs, and you won't even know they're there. So let me get that done, and then I'll kind of show you what that looks like when it's all finished up. Right, and here's the leg with all 4 screws in there now. Kind of kept them on the inside side of the leg so they won't show too much, and what I'm going to do is put a little filler over them and then sand everything down and paint. You can also see where the crack was, that it didn't completely close all the way, so what I decided to do was to run some glue in there, some wood glue. I'll let it dry, and it'll just help hold a little more. And then if there's still kind of a divot there where the when the glue dries, I can add some filler there too when I'm doing the holes, and it should smooth out and look pretty good. I mean, the legs are still going to be rough no matter what, but they're going to be a lot better now, and they shouldn't split or break any more than they have already. So should be ready to go, and we can start moving on to other stuff. All right, now that the glue has dried, I can go ahead and start sanding this thing down. I'm just going to lightly sand the top just to give it a little more grip for glue and the covering that I'm going to put over top of it. But what I really need to mess with is the base, the legs, and the side pieces here. So I'm just using my orbital sander with 60 grit, and it's just tearing this finish off like nothing. You can see right here, old finish, and then right here, it's just coming off real easy. So what I'm gonna do is smooth this out and then put filler over all the screw holes and maybe a few of the cracks. Smooth it out, and then I can start priming and painting it and get ready to do the top. So let me finish this up, and I'll show you what to do next. All right, so now I'm just mixing up some Bondo with hardener so that I can start filling all the little holes, get them ready so I can sand them down and finally get this thing painted. So get this going. All right, Bondo goes on pretty good. Just smush it in, and I like to put it on a little thick so that way when it dries it'll shrink a little bit but still be thicker than the hole I'm sinking into. That way when I sand, I usually don't have to do another coat. So I gotta work fast with this stuff because it's already hardening because it's so windy out today. All right, the Bondo's dry now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding it, smooth it out so we can get this thing primed. All right, and check it out. It looks rough, but it is a lot smoother than it was. You can see how I filled in some of the cracks and then all the holes with the Bondo. This thing's just about ready to go inside and start priming. One last thing I got to do though is, like I mentioned, it has the edge banding on one side, so it's got to pop it off. This come off pretty easy with just a little screwdriver here. And I'll take it off and smooth out some of the nails, and then this thing will be ready to prime. I brought the table in now and it's getting ready to prime, but I want to point something out real quick. You can see on the edge how it's sanded down to raw wood, but in the center there's still a little bit of the old stain left. Now the old clear coat is what I sanded off, but some of the stain is still there. And when you paint things really light colors, especially white, sometimes it'll show through and turn kind of like a beigey brown color. So what I'm going to do is put this new color blocking primer into the test. It's water based, and a lot of them I've tried before don't really work, but this one seems to be doing well. So this will really put it through the test. So all I'm doing is rolling on about 2 coats, and it goes on nice and smooth. And then once I've got it all primed, I'll put on 2 coats of semi-gloss white, and the base will just about be done. Now another thing I'm going to do is these 2 holes here is where the drawers went. I think I'm going to finish them in raw wood just for an interesting little detail. And then of course the tabletop will come up next, and I'm going to show you something interesting with that. Also, I'm not totally finished with these legs. Even after I paint them, I got a cool little detail to do at the bottom, and I'll point all that out to you later. Alright, so now the base is all painted. 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of semi-gloss white. You can see it just has just a little bit of sheen. That'll be really nice to keep it easy to clean up. I still have to work on the drawers there. I haven't messed with them. But what I'm going to do now, while I still have daylight, and it's really windy outside, so I'm talking about this inside, but I got my table saw out there. And what I'm going to do is take that pile of 2x4s outside. I'm going to cut a whole bunch of them down, make them into little slats that I can then use to cover up this tabletop, make a little interesting pattern. It's a super hot trend right now, and I thought I'd go ahead and try it. And most people use just straight up wood. If you see my herringbone video, I even use some reclaimed floorboards, but this time I thought I would cut them out of these 2x4s. So I'm going to slice the 2x4s probably a little less than a 1/4 inch thick this way, all the way down, and then I'll use them for the pattern. And I'm thinking of going a mix between just straight up wood, maybe some with a little stain, maybe some that are slightly whitewashed, and then maybe some that have a little paint that's distressed. That's just an idea I'm playing with. And of course, if you've already seen the thumbnail for this video, you probably already know what I decided. But right now in real time, I really don't know what I'm going to do just yet. But I'm going to go ahead and slice these down while I still have a bunch of daylight and get started on that. So I'll show you that, but it might be pretty windy, just warning you. Alright, there we go. That took a lot longer than I thought it would, but I think I have enough now. I got them all trimmed down to about the same width, a little less than 1/4 inch. Now I got to go through and actually sand them all. That's going to be even worse, but they just have a little bit of the saw marks on there and they're a little rough, so I'm going to smooth them out just a little bit, so I'll do that next. Alright, so again, I'm just going to sand them down. I'm just using a 120 grit pad on my orbital sander, just going over the top side and then just kind of the edges just to slightly round them off, and I'm not messing with the back or anything, so this is pretty easy. And I don't know if it'll show on the camera, but it really smoothed it out. On this edge it's still kind of rough. You can see the saw marks, and here it's smooth out. You can still kind of see them, so it gives it kind of the handmade look, but it's smooth enough that it's not going to cause splinters or anything like that.